Hi students, a very warm welcome to SIM. I am Dr. Zhang Jianling. I'm from SIM Academic Division and I am the Academic Head of University of London programs. Today I'm going to give you some very important information about the degrees in the field of economics, management, finance and social sciences, EMFSS in short. Here is an outline of my sharing. First, I'm going to introduce you duration of your degree studies and how can you interpret course code and the importance of subject guide, course information, and the program regulations. So following that, I will illustrate some sample program structures, and thereafter we look at the assessments and grading criteria for the examination. And the most important parts of my sharing will probably be study strategies. And lastly, I will also share with you academic supports available at SIM during your study. First of all, the degree, a standard degree for EMFSS program consists of 12 courses. So each year, students will take 4 courses on average, and some of the courses are actually half unit courses. So you have full unit courses, you have half unit courses. So 2 half unit courses equals to 1 full unit course. So for the 3 years, students will be asked to take 12 full unit courses. So each year, students will take 4 full unit courses, and obviously there will be some exceptions. Now, if you come in with 3 exemptions, for example, 3 courses of exemptions, so you're left with 9 courses to be completed, you can actually spend 2 years to complete your degree. So first year you take 4 courses, and in your final year you take 5 courses. So without exemption, it normally takes 3 years minimum to complete the degree. Now, this is a typical course code structure. Example, AC1025 is the course code for this very important foundation unit called Principles of Accounting. So Principles of Accounting is a compulsory course for a large number of degrees such as BSc in Accounting and Finance, BSc in Banking and Finance, BSc in Business and Management, etc. So if you take a look at the code, AC will mean accounting, 1025, 1 will means 100 level courses, 100 level means foundation course. Okay, so 1025 says that this is a foundation course. Another example, AC3059. This is a code for financial management. And notice that below financial management, you have a bracket AC1025. So what does that bracket mean? That means in order to take financial management, you need to have passed Principles of Accounting. So Principles of Accounting is the prerequisites for financial management. And as you can see from here, AC will means accounting, 3059, the 3 at the beginning of the code means that this is a 300 level course. A 300 level course is an advanced course or advanced unit. So typically, students will take 300 level course at year 3, and occasionally students can also take it at year 2, so long as you have passed the prerequisites and that fits into your sequence or your choice or your plan. So as I have just mentioned, AC1025 inside the brackets, it means the prerequisites needed in order to take financial management. For most of the degrees, almost all degrees, I would say, you will be given some so-called electives. Okay, so typically a degree will require you to take 8, 9, or 10 compulsory courses. Okay, so the remaining units, can be chosen with some restrictions. Okay, say for example, here the choice is to select 100, 200, or 300 course, or to have courses from any selection group F1, AB, or M. Okay, so that F1, AB, or M, they represent some course groupings. This table shows the F1 courses available, and F1 courses are the courses that belongs to what we call foundation courses. Typically, they are prerequisites for subsequent 200 level or 300 level courses. Okay, and notice that some of the F1 courses require what we call co-requisites. Okay. Example, in order to take EC 1002 Introduction to Economics, student must at the same time or after taking ST 104A Statistics 1 and either MT 105A Mathematics 1 or MT 1186 Mathematical Methods. Okay, so there's a reason behind that. Basically, EC 1002 Introduction to Economics requires some level of mathematical competency, and students need to accumulate these skills along the way when they are studying for EC 1002. And this skill can be accumulated by taking ST 104A or MT 105A Mathematics 1. And there are some what we call prescribed sequence that you need to follow with regard to Statistics 1 and Statistics 2. Okay, you can only take ST 104B Statistics 2 at the same time or after ST 104A Statistics 1. But as I am, most of students taking ST 104B after ST 104A. And lastly, you can only take MT 105B Mathematics 2 at the same time as or after MT 105A Mathematics 1, not before. Okay, so this is similar to the Statistics 1 and Statistics 2. And here shows the 200, 300 level courses in the selection group AB. As you can see from here, the AB groups consists of courses in the area of accounting and finance. And take a look at the solid triangle, accounting theory. You've got the 2 brackets, okay? And that says in order to take accounting theory, you need to have already passed AC 2091 and AC 2097, not pass both, but at least pass one of them before you are allowed to take accounting theory. And the next solid triangle, quantitative finance FN 3142, requires 2 prerequisites, which is EC 2020, that is microeconomics, and EC 2066, this is elements of econometrics. And also, you can only take FN 3142 at the same time as or after FN 2190, asset pricing and financial markets. So the reason behind that is because quantitative finance requires some skills and knowledge accumulated from 3 courses. They are microeconomics, econometrics, and also asset pricing and financial markets. So here shows the courses available under selection group M. And you can see from here, the courses under selection group M consist of mostly management related courses, such as management accounting, corporate finance, management and innovation of e-business, etc., etc. Okay. Recognition of prior learning, RPL. This is a very, very important piece of information. As you know, University of London recognize some of your prior learning at diploma level. That means instead of taking all the 12 courses required in your degree, you need not take all of them. Some of them, probably half a unit, or 1 unit, or 2, or 3, are exempted because University of London recognized your prior learning at the Polytechnic or SIM diploma level. So if you are taking SIM bridging courses and pass the required examination, then you will be given exemptions according to the University of London regulations. Okay, and with the exemptions, some students might be able to complete the degree instead of 3 years, might be able to complete the degree within 2 years. And for more information about the RPL, please take a look at 2020-2021 Program Regulation page 98 about RPL table. So there you will be able to find the specific RPL given to specific courses within your degree, depending on your prior learning that you have achieved before joining the University of London program. Subject guide. Now, subject guide is, I will probably say, one of the most important study materials for students doing University of London programs. Who writes the subject guide? Most of the subject guides are actually written by the examiners. The person who writes the final examination to test you at the end. Okay, so these academics in London, they write a subject guide, and obviously they are likely to test your understanding of the subject guides in the final examination. Okay, so I always advise my students to really get very familiar with the contents inside the subject guide, the examples, the theories, the concepts presented in the subject guide. So every time when you read the subject guide, your experience will be as if you are actually taking a lecture conducted by the examiner. Okay, and increasingly, most of the subject guides are pushed online. All right, there will be many of the courses. Okay, many of the courses have already gotten rid of even the PDF version of subject guide. So everything, what we call an enhanced version of subject guide, all the information are shown as a HTML page. Okay, and they are all available on the University of London Virtual Learning Environments, VLE. All right. So it's important that you should treat subject guide as what we call it your accompanying study material together with the lecture notes that your lecturer given to you. It's really important. Okay. So the course information sheets will give you a snapshot, a synopsis of one particular course. Okay, it basically tells you, in maybe 1 or 2 pages amount of volume, it tells you the course aims and objective, learning outcomes, and also some course information sheets, or also give the essential reading list, prerogatives, exclusion information, as well as the method of assessments. So if you want to understand, you want to know, what is the nature of one particular course you want to take in your year 2, all right, and you want to get the information very quick, you just need to take a look at the course information sheet. And this information will be useful when you are choosing between this course versus the other. Okay. Program specification and regulations for EMFSS. brackets new regulations. Now, this information can be downloaded from the forum link. In fact, you can just Google it. And regulations are important. Why? Because like any institution, regulation tells you what you can do, what you cannot do. Okay, it tells you what is the requirement, for you to graduate. Requirement for you to graduate with certain class of honors, such as first class honors. So what is the necessary requirements for you to graduate with that grade? We all know first class honors is actually prestigious. With first class honors, it confers opportunities that second upper or second lower honors will not be able to give, in terms of such as better jobs, or you can even say higher future earning power, right? And the program regulation also give a host of other informations that will be very, very important and very useful when you need them. Okay, and please keep this link with you, and whenever you encounter some queries about your degree, certain things that you cannot do, examinations, etc., consult the regulation first. If you cannot find the answer, please talk to us. Okay, we will be able to help you to interpret the regulations. Degree structures for standard entry routes under the EMFSS new regulations. So all the new students coming in will be fall under new regulations. So in this degree structure information, I will use two programs. Okay, one is the BSc Banking and Finance, and the other one I will look at graduate diploma degree structure. So I'll use these two programs as example to illustrate the general degree structure required for the EMFSS program. For the first year, students will be asked to take 4 courses, and none of them is optional. So all these are compulsory. So first course is EC 1002, Introduction to Economics. Take note that there are two prerequisite courses needed in order to take Introduction to Economics. They are MT105A or MT1186. Either one of them, all of them are actually courses in mathematics, together with ST104A, which is Statistics 1. The second course will be ST104A, which is a half-unit course, and one of the following 2 half units, MT105A, Mathematics 1, or ST104B, Statistics 2. Now, I want to tell you that you should never combine ST104A and ST104B if you have never done substantial level of statistics at A level, okay? Because ST104B is an advanced course in statistics. Actually, it is a mathematical statistics. So here at SIM, almost all students take ST104A and MT105A. So both courses are doable. And the third course required is FN1024, Principles of Banking and Finance. And the fourth course is AC1025, Principle of Accounting. So both course 3 and course 4 are compulsory full units courses. Okay, unlike the course 2, here you have a combination of 2 half units courses into one. Okay, so course 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So these are the remaining 8 units or 8 courses required to be taken during year 2, after you have passed the year 1 foundation courses or prerequisites. Okay, so as you can see from here, course 5 FN2190, asset pricing and financial markets, The prerequisite for this course is EC 1002, Introduction to Economics, MT 105A, Mathematics 1, or MT 105B, Mathematics 2, or MT 11A6. This is mathematical methods. Course number 6, FN 2191, Principle of Corporate Finance, requires similar prerequisites. And course 7 is either one of the following 3 economics courses: EC 2020, Elements of Econometrics. Take note, Elements of Econometrics requires quite a lot of prerequisites and co-requisites. As you can see from the requirements in prerequisites and co-requisites, you probably can imagine this course is going to be very challenging. So students who are strong in quantitative methods, in statistical reasoning, yeah, go ahead to try Elements of Econometrics. It's useful, it's challenging, but if your math is not as sophisticated, probably you want to think twice before you choose it. Okay, if you don't choose Elements of Econometrics, you can choose either microeconomics or macroeconomics. Both courses are good and solid. Okay, and for banking and finance students, we highly recommend taking macroeconomics because it is useful if you are working in the banking industry. But if you think your interest in microeconomics is stronger, then you should consider taking microeconomics because you are allowed to do that. Okay, and course 8 is financial intermediation, and course 9 is investment management. Both courses require the same prerequisites, which is FN 1024 or Principle of Banking and Finance. Take note that investment management also requires co-requisites, which is FN 3092 or FN 2190. So FN 3092 is no longer offering a SIM, it's actually retired course. FN 2190 is Asset Pricing and Financial Markets, which is course number 5, or AC 3059. Okay. Course 10, line number 10, consists of 1 300 course from Selection Group AB. If you remember, Selection Group AB consists of courses in accounting and finance. So course 10 is elective, but elective with some restriction. You can only choose from certain disciplines. In this case, will be either accounting or finance. Course 11 is 1 300 level course or 2 half courses from any selection group. So in this case, this elective allows you to take from any disciplines, from management, from economics, even international relation or mathematics, etc., etc., so long as the chosen course is a 300 level course or advanced level course. Okay, and course 12 or line 12 consists of 100, 200, or 300 course or 2 half courses from any selection group. And as you can see from here, this basically gives students a lot of freedom to choose anything they like. A small number of students are taking graduate diplomas instead of full degree. So graduate diplomas are for students who already have a degree in various disciplines. It could be from engineering or from social sciences or arts, etc. Okay. Typically, a graduate diploma will consist of 4 courses to be taken within 1 or 2 years, and these 4 courses are at intermediate or 200 level and advanced or 300 level. Okay, and here is one example called graduate diploma in business analytics. And for this diploma, there are 2 compulsory courses that need to be taken. First is ST2187, Business Analytics, Applied Modeling and Prediction. And second is ST3188, Statistical Methods for Market Research. And thereafter, student can take one full course from selection group M, and selection group M will consist of courses in management related or business related courses. And the last course is one full course or two half courses from selection group M and or EC to 2020 elements of econometrics. Now let's talk about assessments. There are three types of assessments, and first is class tests and assignments. So class tests and assignments are set and marked by local lecturers, and for a full units course, either the student will be asked to take 2 tests plus 2 take-home assignments, or some lectures they will prefer students to take the 4 pieces of work in the form of assignments. And your results from these courseworks are not counted towards your final grades. But however, the participation in tests and assignments give you invaluable feedback in terms of your understanding and progression. Based on our statistical analysis, we found that students who have done the tests and assignments consistently, eventually they all perform significantly better than students who skip 1 or 2 pieces of assignments or tests. So for all new students coming into the EMFSS program, tests and assignments are compulsory. So what does that mean is that if you fail to participate some of the tests and assignments, there is a consequence such that you might be barred from taking final examination. Okay, so along together with attendance requirements, there will be compulsory tests and assignments participation. So the second piece of assessment is what we call preliminary examination or mock examination. So the mock exam is set and marked by UK and occasionally local lecturers appointed by SIM. So for the mock exam, typically it will take place in late February and early March. It is done after the entire syllabus have been completed. Okay, and mock exam will give students a very good experience or exercise in University of London final examination format. So many students, especially students coming from polytechnic background, they probably have very little experience sitting for a 3 hours final examination, and that 3 hours final examination determines the student's overall grades. So for many students coming from polytechnic background, they find this kind of examination extremely stressful. And prelim exam is designed in such a way that not only gives students what we call a progressed revision, it also gives the students a very, very important experience to familiarize themselves with University of London examination system. Okay. Again, participation in prelim examination is compulsory. The third type of assessments is the final examination. The final examination is set and marked by LC appointed academics, and most of the courses, I would say more than 70% of them, is based on what we call 100% written exam. Some courses also consist of what we call coursework or project components, and typically coursework or project components will contribute to between 30 to 40% of the overall grades. But for most courses under EMFSS, they are based on 100% unseen final written examination. Okay, so for a full units course, the examination will take about 3 hours long duration. For some papers, it might be 3 hours and 15 minutes, and the 15 minutes is for what we call reading time. For a half unit course, the examination will be a 2-hour long duration. And please take note of use of approved calculators. Obviously, if a calculator is allowed, all of them cannot be scientific calculator. In other words, only non-scientific calculators are allowed. And interestingly, for papers such as mathematics 1 and mathematics course, a calculator is not allowed. So please check the regulation before the examination take place. In order to graduate from the degree, the students must have attended 12 full courses or equivalent. In order to pass each course or each paper, the students should have scored at least 40 marks. And in order to graduate, the student need not pass all the 12 courses, but however, the student must have at least passed 11 out of 12 courses. And many students did not realize that not all the courses are the same. Okay, you can afford to fail probably one of the 200 or 300 level course, but you cannot afford to fail any of the 100 level courses that is a prerequisite of subsequent 200 or 300 level courses. Because if you fail prerequisites, you will not be able to progress to second year. The second year course require prerequisites. If that prerequisite is not cleared, then the student will just stuck in year 1. When that happened, normally the student will be asked to change degree. And the degree is awarded by University of London. Now let's take a look at study strategy. So I would say this is probably the most important information I want to share with you, and please really treat it seriously. This pyramid shows an approximate distribution, grade distribution for each of the EMFSS paper. So normally, depending on the nature of paper, qualitative paper versus quantitative, so on average, you will have between 2 to 10% of students who will be given first class grades. And the first class grades will require students to score between 70 to 100, basically must be at least 70 marks. And then followed by more students are awarded with second upper classification. Typically, this will range between 10 to 20%, and then with more be given second lower, and third class will be more than second lower, and on average, okay, there will be around, I would say, 15 to 25% of students who will not be able to pass paper. And depending on the nature of paper, some paper are tougher and some others are not as tough. Okay, so in general, qualitative papers that require students to write essays will have higher passing mark or passing rates. Okay, however, the qualitative paper typically will come with very small number of students scoring first class grades, right? And most students will be either second lower or third class. So what do examiners looking for? At the lowest level, they are looking at whether you know what you're supposed to know. That is knowledge. And knowledge basically is a test of your memory power. And thereafter, they will see whether you have understood the required or prescribed theories and concepts and models. And then follow that, they will see whether you are able to apply the knowledge and understanding to solve the problems. So in order to pass any of the paper, at least you got to show that you have known what you're supposed to know, knowledge. You got to show that you understand the required knowledge, not just give your answers based on rote learning. And then you are able to solve some simple problems. You will be able to apply the knowledge and understanding to tackle some basic problems. So knowledge, understanding, and basic application will give you a pass. So to do better, you've got to show that you are able to apply the knowledge and understanding in solving harder questions, more challenging questions. And then that you are familiar with techniques of answering exam questions. And to do very well, you've got to show that you are able to move one step or two steps further than others in terms of your analytical ability. All right, you got to be able to give the insights, your unique personal insights, opinions, cite examples to support your answers that other students cannot do it. Okay, so for more information about what examiners are looking for, you can take a look at the accompanying reading materials on BLE called Strategies for Success. Here I attach two sample examination papers for your reference, and these two papers are some of the most common foundation courses for most of the degrees. And the first paper is MT105A, Mathematics 1. So in this paper, a student will be asked to answer all 8 questions, all 6 questions from section A, and all 2 questions from section B. And each of these section A questions will give student 10 marks. And as you can see from here, the questions are shorter, and they will require students, they are basically testing students' basic understanding, basic knowledge, and basic application. Whereas questions in section B will be significantly longer. And to do well, students need to show that they are able to reason beyond a basic level, and to some extent, higher level of analytical skill will be needed in order to do well. The second paper is MN1178, Business and Management in a Global Context. It is a compulsory paper for students taking BSc in Business and Management. This is a qualitative paper, so students will be asked to answer 4 out of 8 questions given. So students will be asked to write 4 academic essays, focused essays within 3 hours. And each question will consist of several parts, and students need to take notes that next to each of the small parts, you have the marks given. Okay, so the marks, 6 marks, 14 marks for B, 5 marks for part C, is an indication of how much information you need to give to the examiner. Okay, so you should give twice, more than 2 times as much information for B than for A. So please use the mark to structure, to gauge the amount of work or amount of time you will spend within the 3 hours when you are in the examination hall. So for each paper, there will be accompanying solution, or what we call commentaries. Okay, so all these are available on the BLE, University of London Virtual Learning Environment. And SIM Library also have a huge collection of past year papers. As I have just mentioned, you need to collect as many past year papers as possible, and they are very important. Do not wait until 1 month before final exam and you start looking at a past paper. Will be too late. Start looking at them from day 1. And fortunately, I would say all your lecturers, they have incorporated past year examination paper and commentaries as part of your tutorial homework or assessments. Okay, so the solution or commentaries of past paper will give you a snapshot, an outline of the answers towards the final examination. And please get yourself familiarized with these informations, okay? And they are very good source of further practice. So this is for the qualitative paper called Business and Management in Global Context Commentary. The marking scheme that University of London applies is a little bit different from the marking schemes that we are familiar in Singapore. Okay, in order to get an A in Singapore, you need to score probably 80 or 85. But in order to get a first class honors, you will need to score at least 70. All right. And in order to pass a paper in Singapore, we need to have score 50. But here, for UOL system, to pass a paper, you need to score 40. 40 to 49 will be awarded as a third class grade. 50 to 59 will be lower second class. 60 to 69 will be upper second class. Okay. I will show you two most important grades in the next two slides. The first will be the 40 to 49. So in order to pass, what kind of evidence or quality that examiners are looking at? Okay, so here is the detailed description of the marking scheme. So the answers that students give to in the final exam must have demonstrated an acceptable demonstration of basic understanding of and competence in the subject, must show some knowledge of and application of relevant methods and techniques, basic range of information and knowledge deployed with some areas of inaccuracy, arguments and analysis not fully developed, evidence of essential reading, acceptable quality of presentation and structure. So in order to pass, you need to show this level of quality, which I would say might not be so easy. So do not underestimate the demand from your examiners. For some papers, the passing rate is actually quite low. Could be as low as 50 or 60%. What does that mean? Is actually out of 10 students, about half of them might fail. Okay, so these are the papers that are very, very challenging, that requires a strong discipline from students and relatively good foundations in the prior learning. So one paper that students tend to struggle is called Statistics 2, ST104B. That paper is extremely challenging. One reason behind very high failure rates in that paper is that students have underestimated the demand and the rigor of that course. Okay, so also if you are not strong in quantitative methods, in mathematical reasonings, do not choose that as an elective. Okay, so the next marking scheme I want to show is the first class grade, the first level of first class grade, 70 to 79. Okay, so in order to achieve a 70, you will have demonstrated a thorough understanding of the subject's depth application of relevant methods and techniques, extensive range and consistent accuracy of information and knowledge, clear arguments which demonstrates a degree of independent thinking or critical insights for qualitative subjects or for quantitative subjects, a significant capacity to solve more unusual or demanding questions involving application of deep understanding of the subjects and its methods, evidence of a critical approach to essential reading, and an ability to apply this in context with, additionally, some evidence of wider reading, excellent presentation and structure. You can see from here the requirements to get a 70 is very, very stringent. To some extent, the examiners are actually expecting the students who have scored 70 to be as good as examiner. So that kind of quality requires lots of hard work. So this graph will tells you what kind of efforts you need in order to get the grades. I have shared with you the distribution of the grades. There will be only small proportion of students who will be given a first class grade. Okay? And in order to get a first class grade, how much effort is needed? Take a look at the graph here. Okay, so this curve is a concave shape. And in order to get 40, students need to have put in reasonable amounts of efforts, or have to work reasonably hard. So what do we mean by reasonably hard? It will mean that for each course that you take, all right, we will expect you to spend at least 8 hours, quality 8 hours, all right, seriously working in terms of the understanding, reading, and these 8 hours includes the amount of the time that you spend to attend lectures and tutorials. And after lecture and tutorial, you spend some quality time, solve the problems, revise the theories, revise the materials, do a bit of further readings in textbooks, etc. So if you have done that, there is a high chance that you will pass the paper with 40 grades and above. In order to get 60 will give you a second upper grades. Well, students who graduated with second upper honors, honestly, the student will have much higher chance to do well in career in many things, because the grades that you get, the level of honors you were given, demonstrates the quality of yourself. And employers, many of them are actually, form the first impression of the graduates by looking at the grades that they have scored, achieved in the undergraduate studies. So in order to get 60, you will need to double the efforts, all right? Double the efforts, then the amount of efforts that you have put in if you were to score 40. So when I say to score 40, at least you have to spend 8 hours. All right, that 8 hours includes the amount of time you spend in attending lecture and tutorials, okay? And let's say that takes you 4 hours. That means you have to spend another 4 hours after the lectures to, revise the materials, to do the problem sets. Now, if you want to score 60, all right, if you aim to score 60, so how many hours you will need to put in on average for each course you take? I would say about 12 hours, right? 12 hours a week, okay? And that 12 hours will include the amount of time you spend to attend lectures. So you will spend 8 hours after lecture to do the reading, to solve the problems, to revise the materials. If you want to score 70, then you have to put in the same additional amounts required for moving from 40 to 60. So in other words, you will need another 4 hours. Okay, so that will require you to spend about 16 hours per week for the course. Okay, and that has to be a serious quality 16 hours spent on weekly basis to study, to revise, to improve your understanding on the materials. Okay, and notice that the relationship between efforts and grades is diminishing. When you double your efforts, it does not lead to a double of the final grades. Okay, and doubling your efforts once you're already at 60 is not going to give you a lot more additional grades, and that extra grades is only 10 instead of 20. Okay, so remember this relationship. In order to do very well, you have to put in a lot more, okay, a lot more effort. And I can tell you, many of your peers at SIM are all aimed to score first class honors. Many of them, year after year, are working extremely hard, okay? And that is the reason that if you want to do well at SIM, you will not be the only one. You are not alone. Plenty of your peers can be working together with you, and that also explains why at SIM year after year, we have produced hundreds of first class honors every year. Okay.
Does that mean that if you have put in enough efforts, you will surely do well for your final exam? Not necessarily. Here I show you 9 common reasons why a student might get bad grades despite studying. And I would like to especially highlight 3 reasons that commonly applies to UOL students. The number 3, you do not start studying early enough. Number 6, you are missing a study plan. And number 8, you only study for exam and ignore class discussions, peer study groups. In the next couple of slides, I will take the opportunity to illustrate 3 and 6 in particular, and to teach you how to avoid these mistakes, because UOL program is a special program that often result in students into committing mistakes shown in number 3 and number 6. Now, UOL program is a year-long program. Unlike local universities, they offer semester system, where one academic year is chopped into 2 semesters. So each semester will have 1 final exam. This way, obviously, preparing for exam is more manageable, because you just need to prepare for exam every 5 months, 5-6 months. Okay, but for UOL, you only prepare for final exam once a year. So that preparation will cover all the information, knowledge learned in the last 8, 9, or 10 months. Okay, so the challenge is enormous. So in order to survive, you need to see that UOL studies or degrees as a marathon race. Okay, so you know that in order to survive in that kind of long distance running race, one key strategy is keep running and be consistent. Okay, so it's important that you will keep running, keep working hard, right? Only throughout the year, only when exams is near, then you push yourself harder, you speed it up. This way, more or less, you will be pretty safe in terms of your knowledge and knowledge understanding, accumulation, and preparation for final exam. Now, what I do see actually, many of the students, especially after the exam results are released, many of the students will come to tell us that they regret from wasting too much of their time. And typically what they behave is the following. They will start working hard, and then from August, September, they will start working hard, but as time passes, their effort will start to drop and dwindle, and by December, early January, they forget about what they are here for. And after Christmas or after New Year, and they will start to realize, hey, prelim is coming, and they will start working hard. And they work very hard. Unfortunately, no matter how hard they work, it's impossible to compensate for the lack of efforts that they have put in before January, December. So this way of working or preparation or learning is, I would say, extremely unproductive to study a program like UOL, because the amount of information and materials that students need to learn are just too much. It's a year-long academic year system. To help yourself to put in consistent efforts throughout the year, let me share with you some very important, simple yet very important and effective strategies. Now, first, you need to have a master study plan. Okay, you need to have a plan, and this master plan consists of some realistic mini goals. Okay, and once you have the plan and you have those realistic mini goals, You need to stick to these goals. Okay, stick to them. All right. Next, never squeeze your classes, 2 lectures or 2 classes on the same day. All right, because your energy will not be sufficient for you to understand 6 hours of information. All right, so it's not productive to have 2 lectures on the same day. Instead, what you need to do is that you should spread your lectures evenly from Monday to Friday. Number 3, never skip classes. All right, remember, if you skip an class, right, and you thought you can make it up by yourself, reality is that it is almost impossible to make up by yourself. And when you try to self-study to make it up, you probably will spend maybe 2 times or 3 times amount of time or efforts in order to make them up. Okay, so never skip classes. Attending lectures is still the most effective and efficient way of learning. Number 4, keep practicing and revising your work, not just for exam. Okay, so the rule of thumb is to spend 20 hours a week after class for practicing, revising your work. So you need to spend that 20 hours a week, week after week, throughout the whole academic year. If you spend less than that, that means you are having deficits in your consistency or the efforts put in. For those students who are taking qualitative courses, such as first year Business and Management in Global Context, we call this BMGC, reading quality newspapers, magazines are very important. This could include Business Times, BBC, Financial Times, The Economist, etc. So doing this sort of reading actually help you to kill 2 birds using 1 stone. First of all, by reading these materials, it kind of implicitly improves your writing ability, thinking ability, okay, and obviously ability to write nice essay will contribute to higher grades for your final exam. And secondly, by reading these quality materials, it allows you to accumulate examples that are relevant to the course that you are taking. So during the final exam, you can actually easily pull out from your database or your collection of examples to construct your essays, your answers that will impress the examiner. Okay. And next strategy is to form study groups. Try your best not to study alone. There are several benefits that study group can give. First of all, when you study alone, a small problem can become, something that is intimidating, because no one can help you. All right, and you can easily give up on the problem or a challenge. But if you study as a group, all right, group members can actually discuss, can brainstorm, can encourage each other to press on, and that will make learning so much more fun, and also make the understanding so much quicker. Okay, so try your best not to study alone. Form study groups in every course you take. Okay, and that will improve the experience and quality of your learning. And lastly is to attempt peer-assisted learning, PAIR. PAIR is actually a formalized study group that is arranged by SIM Teaching and Learning Department. Okay, and PAIR is only available for selected modules or course only. Why we want to highlight PAIR? Okay, because PAIR program has shown to be highly effective in helping students to achieve. Okay, so our statistics shows that students who have attended PAIR, they will perform consistently, significantly better for the final exam than those who do not have an opportunity to attend PAIR. Okay, so when PAIR becomes available, please do not waste time. Quickly go to register a space for you, because the program is run based on first come, first serve basis. Here I will show two students as an example to illustrate how to set your plan. This is a weekly plan for Natalie. Natalie's spread her classes evenly from Monday to Thursday. Notice that all her classes are in the afternoon, 3:30 to 6:30. What is missing in Natalie's plan is that she did not plan any practice or revision hours for her either before or after class throughout the week. So the reason she wants to choose the classes in the afternoon is so that she can have more rest or sleeping time in the morning. And she spent her Friday afternoon and Saturday working part-time, and Sunday have lots of fun. And you can imagine that Natalie will be in a very dangerous situation, because her understanding of the materials is going to be very shallow, and she will probably quickly forget what she is taught in a class, because she doesn't give herself time to revise, to reinforce, to consolidate the understanding and the knowledge. The other student is John. John spreads his classes evenly from Monday to Friday, so his Thursday is empty. He doesn't attend any classes on Thursday. But the main difference between John and Natalie is that John always plans 3 hours after class for practice, revision, and on Thursday, when he doesn't have class, he plans 6 hours of self-study. Okay, and Sunday he also plans 6 hours. So if you count, John planned for 24 hours of self-practice and revision a week. Okay, and take a look. John still have some time to give tuition and earn some pocket money and hang out with his friends, and a couple hours of computer games a week. So John and Natalie both spread their lessons evenly, but as you can see, John's understanding, grasp of knowledge will be so much better than Natalie. And it's not surprising to me, this way, John's way of studying will also turn out to be more, I would say, happier experience than Natalie, because it's more optimistic. And it is realistic because it is not so difficult to spend 3 hours after class for practice. Not a lot of time, basically. And it's more effective, more productive, and I would say more satisfactory and happy, and eventually it will give you a more assured way, more assurance in terms of the final examination. This is a very important rule or strategy that I would like you to follow. This strategy has shown to be working extremely well for those students who score first-class honors, and they call it secret hi-fi formula. And what it says essentially is that every part of material that you have learned will be revised at least 4 times before final examination. So how will you do it? So basically, the materials or the lectures will be conducted over 21 weeks. So here I just block that 21 weeks into 4 chapters. I only show 20. Maybe week 1 is just an introduction. So from week 2 to week 21, so I got 20 weeks of time. So each 5 weeks will be divided into 1 block. So at the end of every 5 weeks, I will need to revise the materials covers in the previous 5 weeks. For example, 0 to 5. So at the end of week 5, I revise the material cover from 0 to 5. At the end of week 10, I will revise the material cover from 5 to 10. And in addition, I will revise the material cover in the previous 5 weeks, 0 to 5. At the end of week 15, I will revise the material cover from 10 to 15. And in addition, the material cover from 5 to 10. And that is about Christmas time. And at the end of week 20, right before prelim, I will revise the material cover from 15 to 20. At the same time, we'll revise the material cover from 10 to 15. So by doing so, right before prelim, I will revise all the materials approximately about 2 times. Okay, so by then I will have enough confidence to go for my prelim. And that explains why the participation for prelim exam is very low, despite the fact that the prelim is a very, very important part of your learning process to prepare for the final. So after prelim, during March, I will have one additional round that covers everything I learned from week 0 to week 20. Okay, so obviously, when you do this round of revision, you will pick up much faster because you have already done twice of the revision before. And then right before exam, I'm going to have one last round of revision, and that will be round 4. So in this way, all the material that you have been taught will be covered or revised 4 times. So if you have done 4 times of revision, obviously your understanding will be so much deeper than if you only revise it 1 or 2 times, and your foundation will be so much more stronger, and you will have confidence to go for the final exam.
Okay, and there's a host of material you need to know. All right, you need to consult, and I have shared with you 2 most important sources of material. One is the subject guide, and second is the past year paper and commentaries. And obviously, the lecture notes that your lecturer prepared for you, they are the starting points, because if you read subject guide as a first, as a first source of material, you might find that material too difficult. Okay, so start with the lecture notes, attend the lecture, you have the basic understanding of the key concepts, examples, and move on to subject guide to deepen your understanding, and look for past year question papers as application and practice. And for qualitative papers, it's important to read beyond subject guide. For that, those kind of courses, you will need to read required textbooks. Okay, and increasingly, University of London also requires students to consult the VLE, right? Virtual Learning Environments. So inside the VLE, you will see the soft copy subject guide, further practices, and forums where fellow students can actually check answers for some inquiries or doubts related to the subjects. And there will be a moderator from University of London Academics to help students to answer or to give the answers to those queries and doubts.
All students will need to attend or self-study the precessional mathematics before they start the degree formally. What is precessional mathematics, and what are the rationales to have this precessional mathematics? First, many of the things, the theories, the concepts, the formulas that you're going to see in economics, in finance, in accounting, even management, are actually derived using mathematics. And as a result, final exams are also designed in a way to test students' ability to apply mathematics to solve these economics, finance, and accounting problems. In reality, UOL also assumes that all new Year 1 students, or Year 2 if you get exemption, all right, students, except you are taking BSc in International Relations. All the year 1 students have already have a good level of proficiency in mathematics at pre-sessional mathematics level. Okay, so if you have time, you can actually Google the LC websites. You take a look at the admission criteria for the LC degrees in economics, in finance, in accounting, in management, all the degrees, okay, except IR, okay, all the degrees that listed on LC websites requires the students to have taken A-level mathematics, pass A-level mathematics with a grade of A or A+. Okay, that is the level of mathematics that they are looking at. They deem suitable for students taking the UOL or LC degree. Okay, so obviously we are not that demanding. All right, A-level mathematics with a grade A might be a very tall order. Okay, but a somewhat, I would say, discounted level of proficiency will be at the pre-sessional mathematics level. So how to assess whether you have already achieved pre-sessional mathematics competency? Now, to do that, what you need to do is the following. Okay, first of all, you will go and take the what we call pre-sessional mathematics tests. Okay, on the SIM-UOL Global Learning Portal. All right, take the test. The test will cover 30 MCQ questions. You will take the test in 45 minutes. Okay, and first you take the test, all right, and see how many marks that you can score. All right, if you score 50 and above, that means you have the right competencies in mathematics, and as a result, you can actually skip studying pre-sessional mathematics if you want. But obviously, it's better, even you have studied, if you have scored 50, it's better for you if you were to go on and self-study those videos and teacher notes for pre-sessional mathematics. Okay. Now, if your score lower than 50, that means your foundation is insufficient. You don't have the right foundation to do a UOL degree in terms of mathematics. Okay. And what must you do? You will need to self-study pre-sessional mathematics by watching the videos and reading the notes attached with the videos. Okay, until you have gained solid understanding of the material contents inside, and therefore you go and take the test again until you score 50 marks and above. You can view the videos and take the test as many times as possible. Each time when you take the test, you're going to see different questions, most likely because these questions are randomized. Okay, you should do that until you score 50 and above before the deadline. Okay, so that is very, very important. Okay, remember, the LC degrees require students to have taken A-level mathematics and score an A or A+ for A-level mathematics in order to understand the material properly. Okay, we don't require that, but at least you must have achieved the mathematics at pre-sessional math level. Okay.
And now it's only July, and from now until the academic year starts, you still got some time. If you want to have a little bit understanding, some understanding of economics, management, finance, accounting, international relations, you can actually pick up some of these popular readings. They will give you a snapshot of what economics, management, finance, accounting all about, and they are written in a layman manner, and it can be quite fun to read. Okay. I have mentioned before that virtual learning environment BLE is getting more and more important for UOL students. In fact, LC and UOL require all students to be well connected with BLE. There, you're going to get information in course materials, subject guides, and you have webinars for some courses, and you have recorded academic lectures or presentations for some courses, and you have study skill sections, activities, discussion forums, etc. Okay, so take a look at this ST104B Statistics 2 bracket enhanced. There you're going to see all the subject guides are in HTML version, and you have a lot more activities with answers given inside the BLE. And this is an example of the webinars, okay, recorded lectures. There, the examiners are conducting lectures at SIM, and the lectures is recorded and they are made available for students who have no opportunity to attend the examiner's lecture. And this course is MN2177. Okay. And you, in order to assess the courses that you have registered, you need to add. Okay, so to add a course, you have to go to the Find a Course tab, and from there you will be able to find various disciplines such as accounting and finance, business management, and if you are going to add POA, principal accounting, you can actually find it from this folder, accounting and finance accounting. After that, you choose to add, and principal accounting will appear in your BLE page. And on the BLE, you also have other information such as study skills, strategies, etc. They are all in the top left-hand corner tabs. And students who might be asked to do projects, when you are asked to do the project, so you will need to have a lot more reading informations. So some of the materials might not be available at SIM library, and you can find them on UOL Online Library, which is one of the largest in the world. Okay, now we come to the final section of this briefing, academic support. My colleagues and I are available to support you in the form of academic advising on weekly basis. Now, this advising are academically related, right? So things such as study strategies and how to cope better with your study load, and how to progress from undergrads to postgrads, and what is the application process in terms of the postgraduate school application. And anything related to your academic study, you can come and talk to us. And when will this advising taking place? They will take place during weekdays, and we will be meeting you at Block B, University of London Regional Centre Consultation Room, which is actually level 1 Block B, opposite subway. And how to register? We will send you email, and then you just respond that email for the registration. Okay, so we are available to talk to you on weekly basis. My colleague, Dr. Derry Lee, is a senior lecturer, and his expertise is in the area of business and management. And also Mr. Ong Wang Hon, senior lecturer and course leader for International Foundation Program and Certificate of Higher Education for Social Sciences. Mr. Ong is teaching elements of econometry, one of the killer subjects for UOL, and he's also teaching Introduction to Economics, and he will be able to give you advice mostly in economics related discipline. Okay, and Dr. Derry Lee will give you advice in the area of business and management. And for me, I am familiar with most of the disciplines in accounting, in finance, in economics, politics, and international relations or data sciences. Okay, so you can make an appointment to talk to us if you encounter any issues. Right, so that is the end of my presentation, and best wishes and enjoy your study at SIM.